I must shamelessly admit that I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about today's topic because I was involved in a rousing game of, we call it meditation mouse, and I I have to play it when it's going on. So he brings me his mouse, and then I throw it, and he goes and gets it, and I can't stop it. It's horrible. So anyway, I'm utterly thoughtless today, and leaving for my retreat in a little while. So um, anyway, I did want to run a couple thoughts by you, and one of the models I use in my when I coach people, simply because it's occurred to me and seems to be my experience and seems to be the distillation of a lot of the uh, scripture and spiritual blah 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 that I've read, is to think of ourselves as there are two of us, and one of us is the flesh, blood, and bone of us that we see when we walk down the street and we look at other people. We clearly have these physical packages that we walk around in. Yogis have a name for our meat suit. They call it Annamaya Kosha. Kosha means sheath or layer. And so it's the little contraction of mortal self that we cruise around in. It's our little when you play Monopoly, you got to have an ironing board or a Scotty dog to move around the board, and then you go around the Monopoly board, and it's like life. You get some good real estate, you get some crappy real estate, you go to jail sometimes. Well, I did. You probably didn't. But be that as it may, there one aspect of ourselves are these mortal things we walk around in, and clearly they're living in time, aren't they? They had a born on date, they're existing, and then printed somewhere in very small writing on all of us is our expiration date. Don't look too closely for that. Don't worry about that. But there's also this other aspect of ourselves, and I call it our God self, our spiritual self, our infinite self, our self with a capital S, the part of us that was never born, will never die. And the Bhagavad Gita, the great Indian Bible, speaks of this aspect of ourselves when it says, wind can't blow it, even yesterday, wind can't blow it, fire can't burn it, knives can't cut it, and fire can't burn it. So really, there's that aspect of ourselves, and yet almost all of us, if you talk to anybody and you just use the word soul, almost everybody goes, yeah, I've got a soul. And I don't know, it's it's in between my liver and my pancreas. Who knows where it is, but it's not anywhere. And yogis might speak of our soul as Anandamaya Kosha. It's the bliss body of being that is the essence of our being, of which our mortal form is an extrapolation, an extension, you might say. You might say our mortal body is the very tip of a cone, and the rest of our being is this gigantic presence of self. But our mortal self has almost no knowledge of that. So the two can be almost completely disconnected to our experience. In other words, you can be very aware of the mortal self and its aches and its pains and its wants and its desires and we don't feel that larger sense of self, but that larger sense of self is always there. And this week I've spoken of issuing this invitation of connection, alignment, of blending with this larger sense of self for all the enormous benefits that come. And I do want to remind you today that as we live these mortal lives, our mortal lives are filled with a great deal of contrast and clarity. There's a lot of up and down, left and right, hot and cold, rich and poor, sickness and in health. And we go through all these things, and through all these mortal experiences, there's a lot of asking that goes on. There's a lot of desires that are stimulated from our mortal self. Now, our infinite self that I'm speaking of always hears this and always responds and always immediately creates and manifests what it is that we ask for. Thus, the great spiritual truth, when you ask, you receive. Now, a common sense person would say, well, that's actually a load of crap, Greg, because I ask for a lot of stuff and I never get it. It doesn't mean our larger self didn't create it, just means we didn't receive it. Isn't that a bummer? All this asking, and in our spiritual escrow, there's this reservoir, there's this safe deposit box of all the good and glorious things that we've asked for as a result of bumping around through this physical experience. And the great adventure, the great challenge, the great opportunity of life is the degree to which we will tap in and allow what we've asked for to actually come in. And so this week I'm saying that this internal asking or willingness to seek and to invite this larger sense of self in opens this floodgate, because it would be sad to get to the end of our lives and have this incredible safe deposit box of fantastic things that we've asked for all held in escrow for us, and we have to die first to get it. What a bummer, because you get it when you die. It's like, there you go. But why wait? Why wait? So the most powerful thing we can do in any moment to tap into the receipt of all that we've asked for, that's all lined up, that's all ready to come in, is to issue this invitation and in effect get out of our own way. So now I'm going to get out of your way and I'm going to go to my yoga retreat. I'll see you all next Monday, and have a great time thinking about, pondering, cogitating on, and especially aligning with this infinite aspect of yourself that's ready to pour blessings into your life beyond your wildest imaginings. I'll see you soon.